This was from 925 Liquors. I tried to like it because I trust those guys' palate. This right here is just different. It's almost borderline bad. I've got a bottle sitting off to my right. I want to put it on camera. I don't want to dog it. I really don't. Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon Drop. I'm your host, Myron. Today, I've got a question for you guys, man. Is whiskey getting worse? Look, I buy a lot of bottles. I sample a lot of bottles. I get a lot of samples in. Most of the samples that I get in, they are great. Most of the bottles that I buy are great, but I am starting to notice something weird in the whiskey. But before we get into that, look, me, Troy and Laura from Baker Drinks, Matt from Whiskey Wisdom, Sean from Echoes in Eternity, Barrel Dave, Carlos from Whiskey Corner. We all went in on 2 half barrels from Westward. They are amazing. We've got 17-202, which is a 7.5 year. We've got Barrel 412, which is an 8.5 year. Both coming over 125. I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. The links will be in the description. I believe we are letting it go public, which is next week, which is probably when I'll release this video. If it's not public, then you know you can get it in my Patreon. All of the links to the Patreon, Bourbon Drop store for the merch and the glasses, they are in the description. So let's get into this video. So one thing that I've noticed is there's a little bit of this youthful, grainy, it's like a super malty note that I've been finding in a lot of whiskeys, and I don't know if I'm just becoming sensitive to that. I don't know, but you know, when I go with some of my tried and true stuff, I don't pick that up. I started to pick it up a little bit in just the graininess, not that malty note, but I started to pick it up a little bit in the Wild Turkey 101. The Glass Turkey really picked up that grainy note. The Paper Label, shout out to my Paper Label boys. That Paper Label, it didn't really have that grainy note, but as I was sipping it, I could tell it was just a little youthful. Now, of course, they've got to have their stuff that they put out and put on the bottom shelf, and some of that stuff you're gonna find it, like the OF 100. I love it, but that started becoming very simplistic to me. However, it's still a good whiskey. I am not gonna lie. That is one of my favorites to sit there, chill, and sip on. But you do pick out those useful qualities, especially when you come from something like Elijah Craig. Now, these are all bottles that I'm probably going to be doing reviews for in the future. Go over to my Patreon. This right here is the new Wild Turkey. This is the 70th anniversary edition of Wild Turkey 101. That is going to be a Patreon only exclusive. The Pinhook might be a Patreon only exclusive. I don't know yet. This is the new Pinhook small batch. Now this says blended by Virginia ABC, but we know it's probably blended for Virginia ABC. It says true small batch. I do enjoy Pinhook stuff. They get it out of Indiana. We all know where. No, I'm sorry. This is Castle and Key. They get it out of Castle and Key. But I do enjoy their stuff as much as Castle and Key gets crapped on, and that's another new one that I refuse to buy because everyone that gives it a review says that it's a beautiful bottle, which it is. I've seen it in person. I had a chance to buy a couple of them. You guys saw my latest video where I went through 4 states, but I didn't want to get it. I saw the I think it was 2022, 23, and 24. They were at different stores, but people have been giving them bad reviews. I've just been finding that whiskeys, and you guys can put it in the comment, lately these whiskeys have been having like this youthful, grainy, almost malty note. And I'm not talking about bottom shelf stuff. I'm talking about stuff that they put out with a price tag of $50 or better. Now, I know you guys have experienced the same thing. I can't be the only one. A lot of the older stuff seems to be better. That's why a lot of people always associate age with being better. Now, I do have some bottles that I'm going to be putting on in a second that have a little bit of age on them, but they're just not bottles that I can get with. So when it comes to bottles that are over that $50 price mark, $60 price mark, approaching that $70 price mark, I want something special. It seems like the whiskey has gotten worse. Like, I don't know if everybody's jumping in the game because they're like, oh, let's hop on this bandwagon and let's just put something out. I know the majority of people putting whiskey out, they're probably, you know, they put their heart and their soul into it. And then, yes, you do have some people that's just trying to capitalize off the market, and they are, you know, getting in on something that's blowing up at the time. But it is just, it's like I feel like when I'm sipping it, because we know in the United States, it has to be at least 4 years old not to carry an age statement. That's just law. So don't get that mixed up with the bottle and bond thing. That's something totally different. But all whiskeys in the United States, if they are put on the shelves and they don't carry an age statement, you can bet they are 4 years old. That's just law. But I do like some whiskeys that come in under that 4-year mark. Like I've said before, Blue Note. Blue Note kind of has, I want to say kind of has a cult following at this point, because you either love it or hate it. Like, I've met a lot of people that like it, and then I meet some people that don't like it. So it's like, you either love it or hate it. There's no in between, like, oh, you know, it's all right, I keep it around. I am a big fan of Blue Note. Recently, the last bottle I got, it was not bad, but it drank hot and it was a little grainy. And I don't know if these, but we know that that's a 3-year whiskey. I don't know if some of these manufacturers are running to some of the distilleries and saying, hey, you know, just, you know, they're picking some of these young barrels. They're trying to get around that youthful taste by maybe putting it in another second barrel. I don't know. But they are bottling things, slapping their names on it, and it seems like it is not nearly as good as some of the legacy distilleries putting out some of their 4-year stuff. Maybe the legacy distilleries are holding on to their better barrels and just selling off the not so good barrels. I really don't know. Shout out to Brad. That was Brad calling me. That is totally my fault for not turning off the ringer. Anyway, but I don't know. I don't know why it seems like the whiskey is getting worse. All right, so first bottle up. I am not going to say this was just on the last hunt video I did. Like I said, I enjoyed this video. It had a very deep, heavy, blueberry, grapey, concentrated malty note, but it reminded me of like that zebra, like that Fruit Stripes gum, and that's why I thought this bottle was decent. So I was like, okay, this is a 8-year, I'm sorry, this is a, yeah, 8 year. This is an 8-year limousine rye single barrel. It was a pick. And I was like, okay, you know me, I'm a sucker for picks. Had to pick it up when I was in North Carolina. But it's not bad, but it still has that I don't know, it's this real concentrated blueberry, grapey, like grape jelly, grape jam, but the Fruit Stripes gum finish on it is the thing that really helps it out. Same thing with this one right here. This one is a 7-year Mackenzie pick. This was from 925 Liquors. I tried to like it because I trust those guys' palate. They have a 5-year Tumbling Dice. I think it's a 5-year Tumbling Dice. That is just incredible. It is. I always say the same thing. Smoked bacon and maple syrup on top of pancakes. That is the note that I get off of that thing. I think it is amazing. But this Mackenzie right here, it just ain't it, man. And it's got like this really youthful graininess in it. Now, these are age stated. Now, ones that aren't age stated, I actually didn't put any over here that aren't age stated. But this one right here doesn't carry an age statement. It says bottle and bond, so we know that it's at least 4 years old. This was one of the ones I picked up. If you have not seen that Forest State Hall video, go check it out. I said that there is something about this bottled and bond early times, this new one. I don't know if they bought all of what Brown-Forman had in stock when they changed over from the black cap to the blue cap, and then they just ran out, but this right here is just different. This is very grainy, it's very youthful. This is like, and I said it in that video, it's almost borderline bad. This is like a younger Benchmark Bonded. That's what it tastes like to me. I am not joking. This thing right here, I don't know what they're doing with this younger whiskey. It just doesn't, I don't know, well, I don't want to say younger whiskey. I don't know what they're doing with the whiskeys that are coming out. Like I said, I don't know if they're going and just picking bad barrels. Some of these guys are producing their own stuff, and that right there is like kind of bad too, because you know you don't want to down someone's creation. You know, when people make things, a lot of times they are proud. They put their heart, sweat, soul, blood, tears, whatever. They put it all in the mix, and they expect, you know, to get a great product. The thing about whiskey is, you know, I am not in that business, so I don't know, but the thing about whiskey is you definitely have to wait and make sure you have a decent product. It's, you know, I don't know anything about distilling, but I don't think you can really go in there and sip, you know, some raw mash and be like, oh, that's going to be great in 5 years. You know, I think it's a gamble, and maybe sometimes they're just forced to put out what they have. But the ones that I constantly go back to that I feel like I can never be let down by are bottles like this. This is the Jack. This is the single barrel. It's got 6 to 8 year juice in it. This is the Jack single barrel barrel proof rye. You guys know how I feel about this one, and just the regular single barrel barrel proof. And then bottles like this, like you can never go wrong with a Knob Creek single barrel pick. I have yet to have a bad one. I am a big fan of Knob Creek. Back in the day when I first started and I got into bourbon and I thought the 100 proof and some of them could be a little spicy, because I tried going to this back in the day. I went from 100 to this because, like I said, I started with a bottle of Booker's and that was hot, but it was flavorful. But I was like, I can't spend that much every time, so I backed down to Knob Creek. Very enjoyed it, so I tried to step my game up and go ahead and get to 120, and man, that thing was too hot for me. Now it's like water. I mean, truly, it's like water. But anyway, you just can't go wrong with a single barrel Knob Creek pick, or just a single barrel Knob Creek. And also, I wanted to talk about this bottle right here. That's why this bottle is up here, because I got to give another shout out to Brad, because Brad said something that it makes so much sense. He is a huge fan of Old Carter. He was like, you know what, why go out and buy a whole bunch of bottles and just take a chance when I know if I buy an Old Carter, it's gonna be good. Every bottle is gonna hit right on the money. He was like, so that's what I'm just gonna continue to buy. And me, for this channel, I can't necessarily do that, because for one, I do enjoy the hunt. I do enjoy chasing new bottles, but I get what he means. You know, a lot of people stick to their tried and true stuff. They don't necessarily go out and hunt every brand new bottle, but this is a bottle that I will always have on the shelf, man. This Four Roses Small Batch Select, in my opinion, is one of the best bottles out there for the money. And also another bottle, Wild Turkey. The Wild Turkey rare breed is never going to let you down. Now, I talked about these in the beginning. The paper labels, like I said, they're excellent bottom shelf bourbons. They've got the proof is there, the price is there, the flavors are there. But like I said, I started sipping a little bit and I was like, you know what? I think I'm picking up a little bit of that note. I was like, I think it's in there. Like I said, the OF 100, the Wild Turkey 101s, you just can't beat it. One bottle that's in that 9-year range, and you guys know what I'm about to say, but it's still within that 100 proof that I never get a useful grainy note in. That is just a regular Knob Creek, just regular Knob Creek coming in at 100 proof. That Knob Creek is just so flavorful, man, and it's got this viscous mouthfeel. Like I said, it was one of my favorites. It was until I started finding some inconsistencies in the hotness of the bottle back then. Like I said, I wasn't really, you know, constantly drinking, you know, hot stuff, but I just, like I said, that bottle, you just can't go wrong with that bottle. And I can't say enough good things about these Elijah Craig barrel proof releases. I think each and every one of them is always excellent. They did knock it down from being 12 years old. The highest one has been a 13-year release. We haven't seen, that was only one. That's been like an outlier. Everything else, 10, 11, you know, so to me, they're all good. But these things are always on the shelf, always going to be on my bar, not always on the shelf. These are released 3 times a year. Took me a while, as you can see. This is supposed to be a September release, and here we are in November, well, the end of October, and I'm just getting one. Shout out to Fred's. Fred's had it. Today was their Buffalo Trace drop. They had everything Buffalo Trace under the sun, but it was just a little too much for me. But they did happen to have this, so I was happy and I picked this thing up. These pin hooks, to be, because I picked up the 7-year, thought it was great. The 8-year, didn't have a chance to get one. I saw them in the store, but I just never picked it up. And I was just like, they make good quality whiskey. Look, I don't have anything bad to say about Pinhook. Even some of the younger stuff that I picked up before, some of the 5-year stuff, I thought it was pretty good. But I just feel like there are some manufacturers, and I've got a bottle sitting off to my right. I want to put it on camera. I don't want to dog it. I really don't. I don't want to dog it. I think I'm going to give it its own episode on the Bourbon Drop channel and not make that a Patreon exclusive, because that is a bottle that says it's bottled in bond, and I think on the back of the bottle, I think it does say something about aged for 5 years. I can't remember, bottom or back. Either way, we know it's 4-year-old whiskey. I enjoy some of that producer's other products, and they make their own stuff. That bottle right there, though, is just, It's something about it, man. It is just something about it. There's another product that I think I've shot the review. I haven't edited it yet because you guys know I just got back from Florida about a week ago now, from, you know, some hurricane restoration and stuff like that down there. But that bottle is just not a great, it's not a great bottle either. I have been buying a lot of bottles lately that have just, I don't know, they've had just that note, man, and I can't put my finger on it. Maybe you guys can help me out there. I know this kind of turned into more of a rant video than anything else. Sometimes, you know, it's not always going to be reviews. Sometimes I just want to get some stuff off my chest, see what you guys think about it, see if you guys agree. What are the bottles that you guys stick with, you know, that are your tried and true? What bottles have you bought that kind of let you down? And with that being said, let the whiskey flow. Never run out unless you head into a drop. Till next time.